2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to another album review by On Beat Off Script. My name is Brandito. I'm here with Mel and Incredibob, my friendly co-hosts, depending on how they actually listen to the music and maybe don't put their own personal opinions into it.
We are the friendly ones, so I don't know why you're coming for us.
Anyways, we're going to talk about our next album, which is Gollywog by Billy Woods. Billy Woods is a New York rapper and label founder. I should make sure that I mention that started out actually in 2002, so been around for like quite a long time. Billy Woods is actually a pseudonym and has still yet to reveal their name, kind of reveling in their anonymity. They also remove their face from almost all public photos of themselves as well. So kind of an amalgam of who are you kind of thing. He's sort of a king of the underground scene in New York, starting off in 2002 with 2 solo albums before releasing 3 albums as half of the group Superchron Flight Brothers. In 2012, he went independent again, but really started to receive some notoriety in 2017 with his album Known Unknowns. He then released his first record with Kenny Segal in 2019 and got his industry mark as an underground experimental hip-hop top dog. That was fun to say.
I would have
top dog,
I would have struggled with that so much.
He collabed with More Mother, who we covered in episode 8. So if you haven't listened to episode 8, make sure you go check that out. We did More Mother and Sumac's album that they did together on the More Mother and Billy Woods album in 2020 called Brass. And then began to do some collaboration work with a few other artists like Preservation and Messiah Music, who both show up actually in this album in Gollywog. So this is actually his 17th studio album, which is crazy to think about. Yes, and I know a lot of people don't even know who Billy Woods is. They've made a lot of albums.
Wow.
A lot of albums. Most notably, for myself personally, 2 years ago, dropping Maps, also with Kenny Segal, which was kind of what drew me into Billy Woods kind of entirely. He's really well known for really, really dense imagery, kind of focused lyrics that tend to be fragmented with very abrasive, kind of lo-fi production on it, which is appreciated. His mother was an English professor in Jamaica, and his father was actually a PhD student that moved to the States as a political exile from Zimbabwe.
Whoa.
Before moving back to actually be part of the government in Zimbabwe after the governments had kind of changed over a little bit. So you can for sure find a lot of very topical references and very deliberate tone in a lot of his works, a lot of political statements, that kind of stuff, which is why it makes a lot of sense them working with More Mother in the past. Like I had mentioned to you guys, like you guys both said, that fully tracks, East Coast rapper, poet with political commentary, like a very, like that. It does absolutely take a lot of, makes a lot of sense on that side of things. Gollywog kind of finds a really unique approach to this from Maps, the way that they wanted to kind of do this, moving over from the last project, and that this is really kind of an attempt to kind of sit in this surreal sort of horror with his typical humor and kind of Afro-pessimism into like another complete project, kind of reveling in more of the macabre kind of stylings through it compared to the travelistic kind of style that Maps kind of had. And yeah, we'll jump in here in just a second. But before we do that, do you guys have any points that you want to bring up about Billy Woods before we start? I don't know why I keep saying Woods. Just having fun with it. I don't know. But sorry, Billy. If you hate that, I apologize in advance.
Yeah. Look at the personality Brandy is bringing to the
podcast.
Nice.
It's about damn time.
I think the only relevant thing to say right now is the definition of Gollywog, which we just talked about a moment ago off camera. Gollywog is a soft doll with bright clothes, a black face, and fuzzy hair, which is widely regarded as an offensive racist caricature. And I think that really kind of sets a lot of the tone for the album, just understanding that definition.
For sure. It's definitely a play into like the minstrel kind of culture that was around for for a period of time in North American history for sure.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of crazy. Me and my sister, because it was one of my mom's antiques, we have one of those dancing minstrels.
Wow.
It's crazy. I like can't. It's just like I don't know. It's so wild to have, but yeah, we have it. I don't. It's not out any. I feel like I can't like put that out anywhere.
Of course it isn't.
But it's like one of those things where it's like, wow, what a thing to have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No shit.
yeah. My mom had crazy antiques, so.
Yeah, that's one of them of all the
Yeah.
antiques that you can have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the gray uniform too from the 1940s
Right.
that you could end up
Crazy
with
shit,
in your
man.
grandpa's attic, and you're just like, oh wait, which side of the war did you say?
Crazy shit,
You know,
man.
yeah, not one that's necessarily a proud one.
No.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, but yeah, this album was an experience, man. I went through it
Well-
again emotionally.
Let's stop talking about it and let's actually get into it. How about? So the opening track on it is called Jump Scare. It's featuring Steel Tipped Dove. And yeah, when you want to talk about, you know, the horror themes, what's better to show off horror themes than starting off with a song called Jump Scare? Let's listen to it. I swear to God, if that got you, please post it in the comments. And if it didn't, you thought that was ridiculous, please also post that in the comments, because that does not deserve.
That was funny.
Anyways, Jump Scare by Billy Woods.
Il tombe là où il se trouve, entraîné par un invincible sommeil vers une issue fatale à laquelle aucun remède.
One strip of tarmac laid through the wilderness to where the natives work the pits, and you don't eat the fish. One strip of tarmac laid through the wilderness to where the planes and ships sit. It's a grip. The vaccinations was TB and whooping cough, looping thoughts. Morose villagers queuing the sun and Ouroboros. From the church pews, you could see the deep blue of the coast. Fresh green wood burned blue, those who can see pan and smoke. The dead don't speak to the living, something not for us to know. The dead drift like empty boats. My people fled to the mountains, but it's nowhere the white man won't go.
I'm so glad you picked out that line because I instantly highlighted my people fled to the mountains, but it's nowhere the white man won't go. Like, whew.
Yeah.
Whew. Shit's heavy, man.
100%. Well, the track, so it starts off with this kind of like wildly creepy, like toy box style, like opening, like the music box opening, which is dope. This really interesting kind of French sample on these crazy experimental gritty hip hop beats, which I genuinely appreciate. But like what I've come to know from Billy Woods, and you know what? I'm kind of silly. I didn't even mention he's also part of another group called Arm & Hammer as well, that also kind of plays into like these super gritty experimental beats and stuff like that too. Another one that's worth checking out because I ended up really liking Arm & Hammer, which dropped an album, if I'm not mistaken, 2024, if not 2023. So also really cool. Dope lyricism here. It's not crazy hip hop in it, but it's super poetic on this side on this side of the album for sure. And you're gonna find that like the opening half of it is a lot more poetic to rhythm as opposed to in the back half it does get a little bit more hip hop kind of focused on that side of things, but also crazy political statements to start this thing off. Like it's a bit more than I even anticipated, and I know Billy Woods and a lot of their work. This was coming right out to be a political statement and kind of caught me off guard even on this side of it. But what say you guys?
Yeah, immediately setting the tone with kind of the theme of the album, very very horror-esque. The lyricism throughout the entire album is you're going to see is just immaculate. It's really like sending messages and really I think hitting home on a lot of issues. But yeah, there's disconcerting horror sounds coupled with this really deep bass that kind of draws you in while also making you unsettled, like which I think that's the thing throughout the entire album too, is like it just draws you in, and this is a great example of it, starting with the album starting with that.
My first note is all caps. Really, we're doing this again, because I was like, I freshly hit like bong rip number 5 of the night, and I like shouldn't have. I shouldn't have, man. But I felt it. I really felt it. Instantly unsettled.
Another
You
journey
know
for
better than
Mel.
that now. This is a you thing, not a.
Man.
But yeah, it's definitely just like More Mother, just like Backwash, which we've covered in the last couple of episodes. This is an experience, a journey that Mel is going on.
I don't feel like quite to the same extent, but
Not to
definitely
the same
there.
extent.
Yeah.
There was enough unsettling, like between the subject matter and there were some very successful sound effects that I was like, exactly.
Sorry, how did that have you again? One more time?
I can't. I don't know if I can do it. It was like, ooh.
Dope. But then we pop into Star 87 featuring Conductor Williams. In case you're wondering, there is always going to be a feature, whether or not you can tell exactly what their input is into it and what isn't. Most of it's going to be instrumental for the most part. You're gonna find kind of all the way throughout the whole thing. This kind of synthy opening that kind of starts everything off. But let's listen to a little Star 87.
Charged up so much and dark in my skin. I'm the one, I'm the beginning and the end. I'm the glowing sky, burning air, sinners in the wind. It should have been you, whispered by dead friends, and you know it's true. The hour's late, like dim. Knock, knock, guess who? Eyes red rim. Looking around the den like you did I off all that shit we did. You did I, but you forgot about the kid. Had to do him greasy like cold spare ribs in the sallow globe and open fridge. Every verse sharp at night like a shiv. Pelican Bay when I'm alone in the crib. I ground niggas down like Coach Tibbs. Phone ring off the hook. They wanna know where the bodies is hid. Conductor.
Boom. So like I said, this super synthy opening with this dope bass line, it kind of reminded me of like a very Tribe, like a Tribe Called Quest style, like kind of cadence through it all with the bass line, but this horror overnote kind of hanging over top of the whole track, which I really like, that kind of that phone ringing that's kind of still going throughout. You hear other phones kind of ringing throughout it all, but like there's still that just initial persistent one that's running through the whole track with it. I love the easy laid back beat on this one. It's super cool. It's a juxtaposition from like the laid back beat to the bass line, and then this jarring overtone that is, like I said, that insistent one that's kind of just, it stays there the whole time. I really thought that was a cool kind of like in between the two of them to kind of, again, make it unsettling but also laid back at the same time. It's a really cool contradiction that I thought went really well. And then like the end of the end is just so crazy because like it's a 911 call.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, 911 call.
Yeah.
I wrote it wrong. I knew what I meant by it. I swear.
I knew what
this
you meant by it.
911 call at the very end as the beat kicks out, but those horror overtones that I was mentioning before kind of keep going. I literally wrote at the very end of it, like, what the fuck is happening?
Dude.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
The reference to When a Stranger Calls with the it's coming from inside the house with the star
Yeah.
80 set, so fucking well done. Yeah.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Star 87 is a code that you put before a number to accept calls from anonymous callers, which ties into this whole song, which is, I love that. I thought that was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
There's just so much tension in this song, right? Again, lyricism off the charts. My favorite line, just for funsies, was I had to do them greasy like cold spare ribs in the sallow glow of a open fridge. Like,
It's poetry.
It is poetry. It's dope. I love. He's so funny and witty with his lyrics. It's so good. Like I appreciate him so much, especially for a very conscious kind of rapper. Like for it to still be like, oh, like that's a really cool imagery build on this one. Like I like that kind of stuff that he does a lot.
Yeah,
100%. Then we go into Black Christmas, featuring Bruiser Wolf and Sadu Gold.
Wait,
and,
is Misery next or is it?
Misery is next.
Oh, Misery is next.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Sorry, I scrolled a little bit too far. Then we go into Misery, featuring Kenny Segal, who did maps with him. So this actually, I'm glad I went back to this too, because this was kind of a little bit higher up there for me in terms of like the ones that I like, because this is a little bit more conventional Billy Woods style. So like let's do that. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate it.
Number one fan like Misery, and Misery love company, and with them, she never unaccompanied, and she not going home in a pumpkin. If it's a tight squeeze, Brody, you the one, dummy, please believe. I re-up on bad dreams, bag up screens at 50, said I re-up on bad dreams, bag up screens at 50, said I re-up on bad dreams, bag up screens at 50, said.
Dope. This track was dope. The dope horn sequence on it, and then him rapping on it. His flow's super tight. It's very New York hip hop. Like when you bring in the horns like that, like in like such like a perfect placement way. The whole beat is just these jazz break beats kind of the whole way through, like just getting mixed in, like resampled over and over again. Like, but it doesn't. They're not resampling the same track and repeating it over. They're not looping it. They're actually like, these are just independent like jazz breaks throughout the whole thing, which is super cool. Like the beat, it never repeats itself at any point in time, which is awesome. The off time and griminess of this is just dope, and it like it hits in like this the off beat ends up actually like coming on beat every 4 bars on it, and it ends up like coming back together and reassociating, and it's just oh man, like this track just works so well. It is Billy Woods doing Billy Woods stuff, and this is why I fell in love with him off of Maps was stuff like this. And Kenny Segal does such a good job of helping build all of that with him. It's awesome.
Yeah, they kind of get away from the horror theme a bit more with this, and this is just straight up fantastic hip hop. The flow is immaculate. I wrote down literally the flow is immaculate on this song. That's like it's fantastic. I had a line that I wanted to read out, but I forget where it went, so no big deal. Mel, what do you think?
I like how, like, even though we got away from the horror sounds, we still have the reference to, like, Stephen King's Misery, which I really appreciated. That's probably one of my favorite Stephen King books. Is he in a polyamorous relationship? Do we know?
I don't know.
I just feel like there's a lot of references to polyamory here, and I don't know much about him, but I think it's interesting. That's all I got.
Okay. Cool.
It was a good track.
So now we get to listen to Black Christmas, Black Xmas, if we will. And I love the start on this one. The radio DJ style of it, like, is like so solid on it. This feels like old school hip hop when you hear if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Bruiser Wolf is actually the radio DJ. Bruiser Wolf is actually credited as a feature on it, as well as Sadhu Gold. So let's give it a little play.
To what's left of the scraps. Horror, drama, suspense. It's a thriller if you can pay the rent. Direct threats at people trying to invent. This flick, as real as it gets. Depicting it, after living it, is sickening. Bruiser.
You walked a long way, cause the shelter too crazy. You gotta test the yay, nowadays that shit crazy. Even the weed spray, they paying more, you couldn't pay me. You couldn't pay me. You walked a long way, cause the shelter too crazy. You gotta test the yay, nowadays that shit shady. Eating the weed spray, you couldn't pay me. Neighbors just got evicted.
Neighbors just got evicted.
How you gonna put folks out a week before Christmas?
Right. I love the delivery for Bruiser Wolf as kind of that DJ.
Yeah.
Like I listened to it over and over again. Honestly, I just love his cadence and the way he says words, but it was still like flows so well.
Yeah.
With what's going on there. I thought the outro was like I wrote outro is super weird is what I wrote. Like I know we didn't hear that, but like the end just
That
gets really
underwater
The
sample.
bubbling, I felt like we were drowning in a bathtub.
Yeah.
But there's also this like weird little cheery jingle happening in the background, which was a weird juxtaposition, but it was cool.
Yeah, Bruiser's voice is awesome, and like I said, it's a kickback to like old school hip hop style. Again, if you watch Hip Hop Revolution, you'll understand like that's like Cool Herc style, like using the radio DJ voice samples and stuff like that. So like in their production and stuff, it's just something special. It's so cool. It's such a shout out to New York where it all started, and actually like giving a little bit of a shout out to that. You know, we're talking Bronx style Bronx style hip hop, and I think it works so well here. The production on this is peak. Like it's perfectly orchestrated for the whole track. It's something that I expect from Billy Woods, but like I can't knock it in any way, shape, or form. It's exactly it. And then I actually really enjoyed the underwater sample at the end of the track. It's really interesting. It added just another layer of just some sort of like thinking, like just forcing you to think about everything. You know what I mean? It adds just another contextual layer. And yeah, I'm a big Billy Woods fan, so like all of this is going to be hard to knock for me. But solid track, really good track.
Oh yeah.
Cool. And then we get into Waterproof Mascara, something that Mel needs when we listen to Bonnie Bear, but
Nothing's
because I'm pretty sure
enough.
I'm pretty sure you're sampled in this from 2 episodes ago, from episode 7.
It's the most terrifying woman crying I've ever heard in my life, and yeah, it's probably me.
It's horror movie shit. Yeah.
Crazy that they didn't make sure they credited you with it. Yeah. But anyways, here's Waterproof
I
Mascara.
can wail.
Don't trust anyone. Don't trust anyone. Sometimes it's all you can do not to do it, like Sylvia Plath. My house full of gas, my kids cry then laugh right after. Psychopaths. I watched the slave cry for his master, waiting for him to break kayfabe, but the poor bastard just sat there, supper untouched. You can't make this shit up, but you welcome to try. I ain't gold, but niggas told me it wasn't a dry eye.
God, this is the most disconcerting song for me
by
far. The crying is haunting me. Like I'm going to hear that in my nightmares. It's like horror game kind of crying. You're coming into a room and there's the fucking witch or whatever that's ready to fucking pounce on you from the shadows with the long hair and the beat up face, like Silent Hill kind of stuff. Like I couldn't get past that crying sound for this song to like actually appreciate the lyrics.
For sure.
Is it fucked up to say I think this was my favorite?
Yes.
There was
yeah, without a fucking question. I try not to swear on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Again, I'm a horror fan, so I loved how uncomfortable this made me. The woman was terrifying. Okay, but that howling in the background also was kind of giving me Luigi's Mansion, like when you're like exploring the haunted mansion. So
that's such a nice horror game. That's
that
not what I was
is a
thinking at
very
all.
fun horror game, but it like was reminding me of that.
Luigi's Mansion.
But like that squelching at the end, I was like, ugh, that's so uncomfortable. Also, I loved the line, how the white girl like her porridge, wake up bitch, you in the wrong place. I was like, oh, so good. So good. I mean, of course it's a very unsettling song, but because of how unsettled it made me, I loved it. I thought it was so well done. I thought this was a masterpiece, and I know I'm fucked up.
This was honestly like this was a horror movie coming to life. Like I thought it was so cool. It's cinematic. It's so cinematic. It's dope. It's super cool. Do I want to listen to it ever again? No. Mel maybe feels differently. You're just like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna rock out to this for sure. Again, just another show of just how good Billy Woods is when it comes to what he can actually accomplish on a track. Is just the way to elicit emotion, like in a way, but still, like if it came on, like I'm not like, hey, I can't handle this right now. I need to go to the next song. Like it's still very approachable, just as a hip hop fan, to be like, I could just listen to this too. You know what I mean? Like hip hop still is forward for him in the way that he rhymes and the way that the beats are delivered and all of that kind of stuff still hits like a hip hop track while still eliciting huge emotion. Where, you know, we've covered something like More Mother, we've covered something like Backwash, where it did feel a lot more like poetry. No, this still feels like hip hop.
Yeah.
Regardless, you know what I mean? And maybe it's his tone of his voice. I don't know what it is necessarily that he does specifically differently that makes it work so well. maybe it's just the way that his cadence actually hits as
He
opposed
does
to,
have a really good cadence. Yeah.
it's crazy, right?
Incredible game.
yeah.
But then we get a little bit of another one of my favorite experimental hip hop artists, The Alchemist, featuring on this track with Counterclockwise. So let's throw a little bit of that on and let's enjoy that.
I didn't get but a little bit, but still dreamt. After I wake up again. It's not easy to bend time how I do it. I had the knack, I suppose, need full of fluid. She had me running back X's and O's. She know what she doing. Daylight crack under curtains. We lay spooning, bodies wrapped up, cups rolling belly. A serpent moving counterclockwise. One city sleep, do-rag tied. The other bears teeth as it opens its eyes. Never the twain shall meet.
So this is a little bit more poetic on this one. Obviously, kind of, again, it fell out of that, again, hip-hop sphere and more kind of that poetic kind of spot, that conscious rap. Dope bass line here with this distortion. That is what The Alchemist does so well. So Alchemist is a little bit more of a producer than he is a hip-hop necessarily artist. But yeah, really, really cool on that side of things. The rhyme scheme on this is nutty. It's all over the place. Like, you're catching new rhymes, and the way that they hit when it's like 3 lines later and you're just like, oh, but that rhymed with that, it makes it almost tough to hang on to the whole way through, which I genuinely appreciate, because like, how easy is it to, you know, Sugar Hill Gang, hip hop, you know, this makes it like you gotta be paying attention to all of it. You can't just nod your head. Like, you need to search for it, and you need to try to hold on to all the different threads that he's trying to put together kind of all the way through, right? And the side-by-side of the news reporters at the very end, again, I don't know if you guys listen in headphones. I strongly recommend it. Listen to it in the stereo, because you get both sides of both news reporters,
cool.
but somehow you can pay attention to both of them so well.
That's crazy.
Which is actually really cool. Like, they did a really good job on the production side of that, where it's like, if I wanted to tune into this side or this side, it worked really, really seamlessly. I could focus on both of them without the other one kind of actually taking over. Really, just a cool song. Cool track.
Yeah, lyrically genius. The rhyming scheme genius. The distortion in the back, along with like the cymbals kind of constantly going off. Like, oh my god, I loved this song. I loved it.
Yeah, this one was really cool. That radio layering at the end was, or the reporting layering at the end was also a big highlight for me. I loved that there was this like subtle background noise happening that kept building up that eventually like transitioned into like singing that I thought was really cool. I loved the sample in the opening. Like, he's really good at just making all of these movie references. And so like now we're getting like that sci-fi vibe going here, and it's kind of like a cool shift. Really cool.
Yeah, 100%. Then we get a little bit of Corinthians with LP, another rapper who's fantastic, produced for like Aesop Rock and stuff like that. Like, pretty notable guy when it comes to the experimental hip hop game as well. Like, all of these guys, like, kind of like they brings in a bunch of people, as well as Despot on this one. I could tell this one before I'd even started listening to it that this was going to be a super experimental one, which I was excited about. So let's play a little bit of Corinthians.
Hungry eyes in the mirror like Corinthians. Uncanny Valley AI hit him with the heads, he screaming, carry, my vision swims. Girlfriend, whenever you're around, your light dims. 2 cents. If it's on sight, say less. Where I see it, it ain't no past tense. Little kid, tiny desk, itty bitty violins, big head, blue lips. If you never came back from the dead, can't tell me shit.
Whew.
This song is fucking nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. Musically, on this side, like, I knew this was going to be crazy. Obviously, you have a lot of these crazy distortions and this recurring heavy filtered bass line, like, right off the hop, that kind of sits through the whole thing. It's building to something crazy cool, but it's just like kind of this nonstop riff. Like, he's just spitting nonstop to try to catch all of it kind of at the same time. Then LP comes in. His voice is nowhere near as dope as Billy's, but his cadence is a really nice break, because this is kind of the first break where you get like another rapper rapping on it, which is a bit of a relief on it because like it's like, oh, Billy Woods is just like Billy Woods through and through. So like just a little break away from Billy Woods for like a couple of moments was like, okay, nice, perfect. This is exactly it. I found that the parts without Billy Woods actually showed off just how good Billy Woods is on this track. Because you're just like, as soon as you hear LPs, you're just like, okay, like LP is good, but like bring Billy back now because like he's unbelievable. Like he's like you see such like you see a difference in the talent level in such a like a unique way. Like it's almost like gobsmacking. You're like, holy crap! Like this is just how good Billy Woods is.
Yeah, 100%
It's wild.
agree. Yeah, he's just off the charts throughout this whole. And you said this is his 17th album. Like holy shit! Like.
He's
I
been
wanna
doing it for
hear-
a while.
Yeah, I want to hear more. Like, and you can tell he's done right. There's experience here, and there's
Yeah.
Dude's a veteran. What do you think, Mel?
At parts it was giving Twilight Zone to me, and I thought that was cool because we just kind of transitioned to like a sci-fi feel, like sci-fi horror. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was really cool. I don't have much else. Again, he's making really cool references with like Diary of a Madman. Yeah, he's very impressive. I don't like.
Yeah.
Commenting on the Gaza Strip and how much money.
Yeah,
it's
12
Yeah.
billion. Ugh,
Yeah.
insane. Yeah.
It's crazy. It is crazy. And then we get a little bit more Kenny Segal on the next one with Pitchforks and Halos. And like my favorite work of Billy, most of what I know of Billy has been with Kenny Segal. So we get another track with Kenny here on Pitchforks and Halos. So let's go ahead and spin this one.
Winding road, carnival glow behind us, pitchforks and halos like the way home. Sometimes you gotta pop in and remind them. Dead zone daps at the merch table, vinyl signing, comatose reclaiming my timing. Thank you for rewinding. In advance, Caliban on Caribbean island. Barefoot in the water, eyeing that horizon in the B-boy stands. Their time is over. Everything is timing. Their time is over and they know it. That's why they wildin'. Right up until the last second, them idiots really thought I was just rhyming.
Boom.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. Just super catchy. That the saxophone.
Again, this was super Tribe for me. Again, like Tribe Called Quest for
Very
sure.
Tribe.
Like where it's just like this broken, like deconstructed, distorted type of like kind of like just heavy jam in the background of it, which he just kind of spits on, and the lyricism is unreal. Like this was one of my favorite tracks by like a long shot. These super overt distortions that I think I don't need to keep talking about them. The rest of the album still has them. Just assume that they're there, regardless of if I say anything about them. Saxophone sample in there that Kenny just keeps kind of glitching in and out, which I think is like really cool and a lot of fun. And then yeah, this is just, it's the piano samples that they throw in and like this repeated kind of verse spot is just, yeah, it was again just another cool track. It's hard to not feel cool listening to this whole album. Like it's sweet. It's just one of those types of records.
I thought it was really cool. So like earlier we had that reference to Primer, which is like basically time travel gone wrong. And I love, like, at the end, you like I take a book for the short trip, the stirring words of dead revolutionaries who were wrong. We're getting like that time machine reference too. Like, I just really like the whole like focus on learning from history in a sense. Like we still haven't clearly, and that's what we're pointing out here. And yeah, I just think that was really, really well done. We're carrying like a really cool theme throughout.
Oh yeah. People make time for the things they really want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those songs.
Yeah, 100%. And then that takes us into All These Worlds Are Yours, featuring Elucid, DJ Haram, and Shabaka Hutchings. Again, in case you were wondering, I don't know if there's been enough different people on this album. Yeah, joke's on you. There hasn't been yet. Which kind of starts off with this like chimey, this awkwardly chimey melody, and it's almost atmospheric, kind of interlude-y. But I do have a little bit of a clip here, so we'll bump that.
My boot shine, my teeth shine, my collar loose. Big ball still, the bills damp the touch, denim tears. Deep state cryo thrills, oral worlds. Neutral ass eating, raw deluxe. War the temple, how much would you cost? As close as we'll be to the furthest planet. As close as we'll be to the furthest planet. As close as we'll be to the furthest planet. As close as we'll be to the furthest planet.
Yeah, like I said, it felt kind of interlude-y to me on this one. Like, this one I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to, but you do get these kind of crazy industrial drums with these, like, banging kind of kicks, really heavy snap snares, and then, like, these kind of tinny cymbals, and you get these small bursts of rapping kind of throughout the whole track on this one. It's mood setting and unsettling kind of at the same time. And then you have another closing sample of just another speech, like a speech being given. Again, a lot of these tracks open with a speech, end with a speech, and it's all poignant. It's with purpose, and that's something that's kind of cool with me. Not my favorite track, not one I'm going to bounce over to like very often, but like, sure, it's there. And again, it is mood setting.
Yeah. It's still quality. I like it.
Yeah.
Everyone loves some mutual ass eating. So,
Yeah.
I'm glad you got that as part of the clip. But I didn't have any notes on this, honestly. So I think it's again, mood setting is a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it had like a really cool ramp up before like Elucid took over. The opening was so heavy. Like today I watched a man die in a hole from the comfort of my home, like literally calling out like the Ukraine war, like just dropping bombs. Like it's like everything is so heavy, but like so important, but wild.
It lightens up, though, a little bit, kind of from here. It does start to lighten up. That was really kind of like the heavier part of the album, which I feel like is why this was kind of an interlude to kind of actually like show like a separation of two different albums in a larger sense.
That's true, and we're perfectly at the halfway mark, right? So that makes sense.
Like it is.
Yeah.
Like I think that was kind of the perfect spot for them to be. It also sounds like you're kind of going off into like outer space, like kind of feeling too, and so like. Off the planet, like this is what Billy Woods does, and this is where we kind of get back to a little bit more of the maps framework that I really like fell in love with to begin with, and so that starts off with a Maquiadoras featuring El Divino and Saint Abdullah, and so let's hear a little bit of Maquiadoras.
Fanon said self-amputation, how all this is created. The irrational rationalizations of the racists. The amputee says accepted, there's no escaping. Except the prosthetics. They give ill-fitting limbs as gifts and insist you can only live in the present. Fanon dreamed of death every night in the desert, woke in hospital bed. CIA handlers gently pressing, wishing he died out there in the sand, bayoneted. You had the wrong answer to the right fucking question.
So yeah, a little bit lighter, right?
I mean, sure. Content matter, definitely not.
Al Divino pops in like right off the spot with no beat or anything, just straight intentional flow, and then it enters in with this like really gentle piano spot with again more news style sampling behind these like abrupt cut-ins and cutouts of some more lyricism. It's all about like the whole thing was just about like amputation, like telling the story about it, which I don't know if I fully grasped, but maybe Mel, you were like paying a little bit closer attention to the lyrics to be able to like kind of give me a little bit, because a maquiladora is like a factory or a plant in Mexico. So that's why I was like really kind of confused, like kind of where the draw and everything like that is with it. But
I took this more of like like the self-amputation, like it was more like decolonization, if that, like it's more of like
That makes sense.
like yeah, like we're being colonized. Yeah, you're forcing people to like kind of give up on their culture essentially for fucking corporate greed. Yay. We love that.
And you're amputating people from their culture kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And the amputee says accept it. There's no escaping because they've already been self-amputated.
Yeah, like they didn't have a fucking choice. They had no.
Accept those prosthetics. This is the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did think that was a nice. There was a nice little like refresh in the beginning, but like again, content matter still so heavy.
For sure. No, absolutely. Bob?
I don't have anything to add to that. Other than
Sounds
YJ.
good.
Yeah.
What is
Good
sick
talk.
is then the saxophone portion of Maquiadoris at the very end there actually plays into a doll full of pins in like such a perfect way with Yolanda Watson, Jeff Markey, and Messiah Music. And I do want to say Saint Abdullah actually has this sort of sweet solo at the end with that. That plays into a doll full of pins. And I'm actually going to play right from the very beginning of a doll full of pins where I grabbed this clip. And like this is a over minute long clip because this is
Yeah.
anyway.
All summer in a day, I spent all summer digging myself out of grave. Can't run with the wolves when you're astray. Can't let anyone know you getting paid. Can't let them meet the connect. Your own people will get you up out the way. I hit 20K in my mother's basement. DC summer suffocating. The air pregnant, the whole city just waiting. Tasting my own blood and bracelets. The plug impatient. Like fuck all that, I lived in the bus station. Niggas tried to yap me, I left town, I'm not tough. I came back when niggas got locked up. I know them niggas. Niggas is dumb. Niggas is dumb.
Heart full of pins. Come to me with your sins. List of names, foes and friends. It's all the same in the end. They're all the same in the end. Oh.
Boom.
Yeah.
This is one of my
Musically-
favorite tracks. This was
musically,
so
one of the
dope.
best songs. Yeah.
You get the playing of the sax with like from Maquiadoris, like jumps right into this in this jazzy spot with Billy just like rapping right away. Yolanda's voice is such a vibe here. Like it's a reprieve from like Billy just being so critical and cynical. Like the whole album that like you get Yolanda to come in to like kind of just like give you a little bit of that breath of like, okay, yeah, no, like we're here. Like I'm not the only person here listening to this at a time. You know what I mean? Like hearing somebody else come in at that point in the album was really nice. I highlighted the album. I feel like this is what they were trying to build to the whole way through by creating this really horror aesthetic, and then this is where we're like there is no horror aesthetic. Like now we are just in this jazz hop. This track is so perfect to me, in my opinion. After how the rest of the album's gone so far, it's perfectly placed, and I feel like it's crazy to think that the whole album that we've already covered so far, we've been covering like this album for the last like 45 minutes, almost or 30 minutes, like give or take, like on this specific thing, and this is where we were building up to. The last 30 minutes has just been trying to get to this point. Also, I believe it's actually in 3/4 time. I could get roasted in the comments. Please tell me if I'm wrong on that. But I believe it's also in 3/4 time, which is really difficult to rap on. So him just doing it for the sake of doing it is also wild to me.
Yeah. This is my favorite song musically for sure. Oh my God, it flows so well. Yolanda comes in so perfectly. Voice is immaculate.
Yeah.
As always, lyricism is just fucking on point. Like, yeah. God, I love this track. Love this track. I listen to this one over and over again.
And as we mentioned, you know, we were talking about the Gollywog and stuff like that, how it is actually a doll and a doll full of pins. Like, this feels like this was actually kind of the center of the album. Like, this was what it was supposed to be around, you know?
Yep.
I mean, I'm assuming doll full of pins is like also just going towards kind of like voodoo. right? I'm assuming.
Well, yeah,
Voodoo.
and his mom being Jamaican and stuff like that too,
That
where obviously
checks
that
out.
takes big place. You also have later on you have Black Zombies and stuff
Yeah,
like that as
true,
well
yeah.
as another track later on. So like voodoo is very much an
And
important part of
yeah.
the culture, and Zimbabwean, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Again, I could be
True.
corrected on that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he mentions like cursing the whole family in this one. I love the calling out white women here, like might bottle it up like white women tears, like white women out here trying to make everything about ourselves. I do it sometimes. Yeah, we're guilty.
And is your life so hard? Right?
Yeah,
Not you
yeah,
specifically, but
exactly.
white women.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love this track a lot. This actually was probably my favorite, but like Waterproof Mascara was a close second.
Sure. Honestly, like I had wrote down fave beside this one. It ended up not being my favorite. I'll get into that here once we get up to it. There's another one that smacks so much harder, but this one was a really dope track, and again, kind of an entrance into the back end of this album where I think falls into that more maps kind of spot, because then we go into Golgotha featuring Messiah Music, not her only time on the album, but I think her first time on the album, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. But Golgotha, again, a little bit more jazzy sampling going on here. Still a little bit more of a conventional hip-hop beat. This is where we kind of start to get back into hip-hop kind of style. It's not trying to be a horror movie anymore. This is what I know and love Billy Woods for, so I got pumped. But let's give it a listen.
Nice.
Everything buffering, reality lag and jump. Sometimes barely recognize the people I love. It run hot, fast like arterial blood. Splashy kicks, the knife slippery. Wrist. Can't lie, some of these rappers do be glittering, embittered, but still air kiss death. Black lipstick on my neck in bed, she's a dead fish. But it's more to life than sex.
Αλία χωρίς δεκάλια. Άκους κριτζέλι, σάβου τμά, ρομελής κότσαμ δεστσένους.
Meaningful things. I hear what they say in the light of day, but let's see what the night brings. The flap of ragged wings, black Thanos finger snaps, 5 gems on a 4-finger ring. There's no going back no more. We drew lots in the dark corridor to kill the king.
Man. This is his most conventional structure in the album so far. It's a dope change up. It's sort of like everything kind of coming together for the whole album. As I kind of mentioned, like this is the end of it. His cadence is just next level. Like he's been one of my favorite rappers of the 2020s. Like by like a long shot. He's one of my favorite rappers of the 2020s. He's just next level. And then you get this super free jazz kind of outro at the very end of it, which I love the way that kind of opened up.
Yeah, by this point in the album, I'm sold on Billy Woods. Like I'm a fan. I absolutely want to go back and listen to more of his stuff.
Well, luckily for you, there's 16
more albums, yeah.
16 other projects that you can go grab off of.
And there's so, again, I wish I had more time to listen to this before the podcast. There are so many references and so much wordplay that I can, like, just at a skim of the lyrics, just like, holy shit, there's so much being referenced here and so many like so much thoughtful lyricism that I wish I could comment on it more. And I can't wait to go back through and really just like dive into it.
Yeah, this is a track that I really enjoyed, but I literally didn't take any notes down. At this point, I was kind of just vibing. I was just kind of in the album, and I was just like, yeah, okay, yeah.
I did the same thing. Where I'm just vibing this. I'm in a mood. I'm like, I didn't feel like work. I didn't feel like I was doing notes. I was just like, I just want to listen to this music.
Like usually I would try to listen to an album more than once, because if I just get into a vibe, I don't want to have to think about it. I just want to vibe.
Yeah, which is a testament to this album.
Yeah.
You were also stoned and it was midnight, so I mean that
You're
also
not
might have
wrong.
had.
I was just in a fucking I was just in a zone. I was
not stoned, and it was 1 a.m. for me when I did this. It was still the same vibe. Like I was.
Yeah.
God, so good.
For sure. Then we go into Cold Sweat featuring Ant. I didn't grab a clip of this one because it is just sort of like a deconstructed, like really simple beat, really simple repetitive piano line throughout the whole thing, but there wasn't like not too much like over filtering anything. He was just kind of spinning over it, which is it was just really kind of direct. It felt interlude-y in my vibe again, like kind of another one. Since it was mostly samples at the end of it kind of thing, like it wasn't really a whole lot of Billy Woods doing a lot of things other than production work on it, which I kind of... There's a lot of songs on this album, and I want to make sure that we still have a reasonable amount of time when we're trying to do all of these things, so not necessarily picking a sample for a clip from everything would be all right. But then we go into Black Zombie, where we get a traditional sample, some real underground kind of beats, and him just absolutely ripping it apart. So let's get Black Zombie going.
Staggering post-colonial African zombie state chase the people into the waves. Watch every ship and raft till it disappear, whether it make it or watery grave. Hey, who's to say? Right away, zombies stop going all crazy. They whole game changed like Soze. Walking dead, no way, brother. The uninterred hopped in Rangers roving. You already know that chauffeur gold Mercedes is a go. Bit of harvest where the house of traders or hawking is that oil gotta flow.
Man.
God.
Man. Just a super cool look at being from Africa and seeing people moving to around the world. Obviously hyper-political motivated. His dad, again, being a political kind of outcast from Zimbabwe to begin with and stuff like that. This is a very political one, just talking about people from Africa, like specifically, and going basically elsewhere just to do whatever they think that they're supposed to do, right? Kind of being a black zombie and losing their cultural heritage, losing a lot of that kind of side of things is part of being, you know, a black zombie in that kind of spot. But like he rhythmically just like pounds out points in such like a cool, unique way. And then that outro with that was Museveni, the African president of Uganda, talking about not starting the violence, but ending things with violence, which I thought was just a really cool take. He's also been the president of Uganda since like 1986. He's like the third longest sitting non-royal leader of a country.
Wow.
And then you also hear like the flies in the background just to kind of show like the juxtaposition of like, that's easy for you to say, like you get to live in the palace or the whatever it is that they call wherever the government would probably take place there. But like for a lot of people, it's flies. Like it's for the rest of us, it's not okay. So when we do leave and lose our culture, that's kind of what we're losing. So it makes it feel a lot easier. But like there is still something rich back here that we should be taking advantage of and making sure we keep important to us. I think it was a really cool political message. I really appreciated all of the different aspects of this one. I took a lot more time on this track because I felt like it had a lot more meaning for that I wanted to make sure that I knew and I understood on this one.
Yeah, I agree. I also thought this was a very powerful political statement. I think outside of the crying and waterproof mascara, the bugs crescendo getting louder and louder. Yeah. At the end of the intro was just super disconcerting. Like I'm like, oh, I don't like that, but like for good reason. Like the messages that came across in this song were, you know, super important. It kind of just like brings to terms kind of what they were dealing with.
Yeah, that outro ended up being a big highlight for me because we're getting back into that like creepy horror vibe. But this
caught me off guard actually.
Yeah, he gave us a really long break from it and then just threw it right back in our faces. Yeah. But yeah, super powerful.
Great song.
For sure. And then we get into Make No Mistake, kind of bumps into this like kind of manic drum spot, like kind of almost instantly, a very, very different take right away into here. But I'll give it a little sample here for you.
Stutter, drop, dip, Euro step. When they say it's off beat, that's when I know I got him on skates. Needle in the arm, how he made his escape. People stay stuck in their ways. Who am I to judge? Blow me a dub before I even wash my face. This system will take your ancestral traditions and twist them indigenous mountain villages, make you coke paste. Still living hand to mouth, make no mistake. I never liked the guy, but gave him some grace. Only to find out I was right the first time. I hide everything in the rhymes, that's why I need a dark on stage. Make no mistake.
Boom. So yeah, this kind of manic drum with this kind of dream pop kind of vibe to it behind it. And like either somebody was humming behind it or there's like strings. I couldn't quite make it out. And then you have this scaling kind of piano kind of throughout the whole thing. Sort of a reprieve from this really aggressive macabre theme to kind of get back into this kind of dream poppy backtrack kind of sound, very atmospheric. His voice stands out really tall on this one. Like, his voice is super penetrating compared to all the other production that we've done so far. And then the outros on this are just nutso. Like, it's always a message to close out the track with, like, this just obscure sampling. Again, another, like, it's going to be radio, it's going to be a news reporter, it's going to be a speech of something important but relevant to whatever the topic they're talking about. He did it again on this one, you know?
Yeah, I love that, honestly. I feel like it always brings it, like, home. It makes it real. You know what I mean? It makes what he's saying.
It makes it real life. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it real life. I love when he does stuff like that. But I don't have a lot of notes on this one. But yeah, this album just keeps hitting. There's so many hits. There's so many songs I want to listen to again and again on this.
For sure.
This is another one.
The whispering in the outro is so cool. I loved that part so much. I also really like how I like the crime and punishment reference in this one, how he's like essentially using that to justify himself, but like he's basically admitting guilt to yeah, I don't know. It was cool. It was well done.
Dope.
Dope.
Now we got Born Alone, pardon me. Born Alone. I'm just gonna play it. I'm not even gonna talk about it until after.
I like that.
2, dog-eared Timberland boot. Saucony's on the Brooklyn stoop in pretty good shape. Toothbrush to sway. Mouth full of toothpaste. Looking in the mirror like I know my day coming. I pray it's not today. Seen him coming like, hold on, wait. Ain't no way. Doctor, read the x-rays while you read the doctor's face. I rock a clean pair of socks every day, just in case. Born alone, die alone, no matter who your man's is. Hope he lived long enough to tell it to his grandkids. Born alone, die alone, no matter who your man's is. Hope he lived long enough to tell it to his grandkids.
That distorted piano in the back is just so...
This is
so
my favorite
mood-setting.
track on the album.
This
ended
is
up,
interesting.
yeah, this was absolutely my favorite track on the album. This was so dope. Super East Coast style sample on it. Like the cutout beat here and there. I loved like clean pair of socks every day just in case. Like he wears a clean pair of socks just in case he dies at any given point in time. He's just like, I could die right now, so I'll make sure I got a pair that.
Yeah.
But like the other part too with it, like I wear a clean pair of socks because if I die on the street, people are probably going to steal my shoes, and I want to make sure I've got clean socks on when my shoes get taken off my body. Like that was the whole point behind it. And I'm like, that's such a dope present line. I love this song so much.
Yeah.
This is like one of his few tracks that actually has a chorus. So you do actually kind of get a little bit of like this stands out as actually having a proper chorus on it. But the way the backtrack just like goes flat, like in that piano line and stuff like that, just makes this unanticipated like feeling with it. It's hard to expect how it's gonna turn up. Like at every single point, you're like, is it gonna go like weirdly flat? Is it gonna hit a wrong key here and there? And it does, like often. Just top tier track. This was by far my favorite track on the album. This was so cool.
I loved how the chorus almost felt like chanting or like a mantra, and it almost had this like hypnotic, like if you keep repeating it, you'll just believe it vibe that I thought was really, really cool, really, really well done. This cadence switch up for me was like much needed because I was kind of getting to the point where it was like I was ready for the album to end. It was like dragging a little bit, but it was still like, I'm sure if it wasn't like 1 a.m. and I was trying to wrap it up, like I would have been able to sit in it longer. But I like, this one got me back in.
Yeah. Born alone, die alone, no matter what your plans is. Just that line alone. There's so many more good lines in this, but that alone just hits like it's unsettling.
You stick around long enough to tell your grandkids. Like that's crazy.
Right.
Like that's just like that one was so cool. I love that track dearly. That's dope. That was again my favorite off the album, like by like a long shot. It was so good. Then we go to Lead Paint Test. Also, I should mention that also did have Kenny Segal on it. So like that is another Kenny Segal track. So like I do love Kenny Segal and Billy Woods together. Like they just I can't get past that. Then we go into Lead Paint Test with Lucid, Cavalier, and Willie Green. Let's give this a little play. This was another one of my favorite tracks. This was in my top 3 for like a long show. Yeah. So let's do that.
Feeling somehow, forever's a mighty long time. Inshallah, God willing.
God bless this sweet home, my beloved home. 1, 2, 4 bluestone crouched on dead home. God bless this sweet home, my beloved home. 1, 2, 4 bluestone crouched on dead home.
Hold my breath if I walk past on a visit. They replastered the last crooked paths of the lizards. My uncle is the ghost of Thanksgiving past. First floor, front room, Mars was the last to get the message.
Yeah, I love Cavalier's part in this.
100%. He actually keeps up with Billy. Not an easy thing to do. I don't think quite as good as Billy, but like keeps up. Like
he's up there.
100%. These big organ pieces on it. Lucid is doing all of the background music, if I'm not mistaken, like all that backtrack. And Lucid is fantastic with that. Like Lucid is super cool. I like them a lot as well. I've liked a lot of their stuff, not with Billy and with. So like Lucid's cool. Lucid is a really neat one. I would recommend jumping into them to kind of see them. This scratch joint on this is so good. They do such a good job scratching on this. And then like the slight key change into this flat sort of spot kind of midway through the track again. I don't know. Awesome production. I loved this track a lot as well.
Yeah. The horns in general. Just,
yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Everything about this is so, it's so cool. It's such a cool track.
Yeah.
There's no better way to put it.
Mel?
I just didn't have any notes on it, honestly. I think at this point I was just kind of like hopping.
Yeah. Again, so easy to vibe to. I did the same thing. I went back and listened to this one again, but I vibed to it the first time.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say.
Yeah, fair. All right.
Did you like it?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
I do think that I just thought the album is long.
Yeah.
But
I honestly did not feel that way at all. That's just because you decided to do it at midnight to 1 o'clock.
I had no choice.
100% that's the reason. I promise you. Because it did not feel long. I thought this is like, when you talk about an hour-long album, like, and this was just shy of an hour, this kept me engaged the whole time. This is exactly what I wanted out of an hour-long album. Like, this is what holds you in. Like, I felt like every single one of these tracks kept me engaged. But this takes you into Dislocated, another track with a Lucid on it, and then the Human Error Club, which you get these smacking rides right off the hop and stuff like that. Let's give it a listen.
Out of reach, firekeeper for this life at least. Why away, guide my feet. I'm entirely someone else's dream, someone else's dream. Out of reach, firekeeper for this life at least. Why away, guide my feet. I'm entirely someone else's dream, someone else's dream.
Yeah, so like, not my favorite. It's the closing track. It is an outro, basically, of the whole album. I think kind of like entirely, again, if you were to call it an interlude, except it's not inter, it's like an outerlude, kind of taking you out of it kind of thing. But you get these smacking rides, you get some pianos to start this one out, and like a nice little bit of strings in here, which you didn't see a whole lot of. And then the drums are just insanely freeform, really off timeliness, just kind of insane breaks on them, like just cool production on it. Again, that's all Lucid, and possibly a little bit of Human Error Club. I don't know much of them, but I'm curious to know what their contributions were on the track. If anybody in the comments can let me know, please, by all means, tell us. But yeah.
Yeah, I love I kind of love the manic drum beats. I love the soothing melodic kind of backdrop there to the song. The flow, I can give or take the flow. Like it was fine. Not my favorite on the album for sure. I agree with you there. It definitely feels like an outro. Yeah, not the best, not the worst.
No.
I really liked the echoing that was happening. I thought that was really cool.
Echoing's cool.
How it was like fading away. Yeah, that was really, really cool. Yeah. It felt right to end it like this though. I was satisfied.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So that was Gollywog by Billy Woods. What's in closing? How do you guys feel about everything?
Man, oh man, this was an experience. Just like Back X Wash before, and more Mother and Sumac. Like this was an experience. This was. I will say that I don't think this was as unapproachable as those two albums were. I felt this is far more approachable. I vibe to this far more. Like outside of the Waterproof Mascara piece, the buzzing at the end of a Black Zombie, like other than those two moments where I was like, oh, like getting the creeps. Yeah. Like I enjoyed it from front to back the entire album. It's definitely grim. The subject matter is not pleasant, but important. The lyricism is just so good. The flow's so good. Like it's among some of the best I've ever heard in hip hop. And I'm a huge hip hop guy. I'm a huge rap guy. I love hip hop and rap. So this was a very pleasant surprise coming in and learning about Billy Woods, who now I have 17 fucking albums to listen to, or 16, whatever. But yeah, and coming into this as an everyman, and also not having enough time to really dig into it, I'm so excited to go back and learn some more of the historic and cultural references that he made throughout the album.
Yeah, there's a lot of it.
Yeah, there's going to be a ton that I didn't pick up on, even while we reviewed it here, and I feel bad for not picking up on that stuff and not bringing it up here. Those of you in the comments, if there's cool cultural or historic references you want to bring up that Billy Woods did, please let us know. But yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of this, and I gave this a 9.1 out of 10. It's a high rated for me.
Yeah, this gave me everything I loved from Sumac and more Mother, but like better. I don't know, like in a
without the dread.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was still so uncomfortable. I loved the horror aspects of it. Like that, those were some highlights for me. With the subject matter, I thought it was totally appropriate. I love listening to albums like this because I feel like I learn so much. Like so much of this stuff are just, it's experiences that I could never relate to. And I feel like a lot of the references do end up like going over my head. So to do a deep dive on this would be so incredible. I literally just feel like it's a history lesson essentially from like, because, they whitewash everything and skip over all this shit. I loved it. I want to go back to it. I gave it an 8.8, and I feel like it should have been able to break a 9 for me. I just shouldn't have listened to it so late when I was so sleepy. I do think if I would like that, it being just maybe a touch too long for me is the only thing that kept me from breaking 9, but I do think that would change under different circumstances.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's relatable as hell. As a straight white man, I'm super realistic. Yeah. It relates to me so much.
I love this album. Billy Woods does it again for me. This ability to recreate and reinvent hip-hop into something that's still so palatable while delivering unpalatable messaging and destroying the concept of structure over and over again through an album is, in my mind, it's something that's super special. It's really unique. It's something that Billy Woods alone has done for me in the last 20, like since 2020, kind of like in the 2020s, I should say. I don't think I like this more than Maps, since I like, as much as I appreciate the concept that kind of delivered the first half of the album, I think I like the jazzier vibes and how much more consistently they were there in Maps myself. But this still had moments of perfection of exactly what I was talking about with the jazzier parts, and in a lot of ways actually does. In moments, it does it better than Maps. I just think that the consistency of him delivering on those through Maps was something that I enjoyed a lot more and did think it was better. But regardless, Billy Woods delivers to a T on this one, and I wouldn't just be happy to have this in my collection. I'm kind of pissed off that I don't yet. So that's I'm for sure gonna get this on vinyl. I need to have it in my collection. For me, this was a 9.1.
Wow, twinning.
Nice.
Look how cute you two are.
Twins. Yeah, look at us. Who'd have thought? Not me.
Honestly, I could probably tell. I had a pretty good feeling. Like Billy Woods is sick. He's unbelievable, and this was a top-notch album for me. Like,
Hell yeah.
He's one of the best rappers I think currently out there delivering stuff, because Kendrick Lamar decided that he's just going to talk about other people instead of.
Kendrick just went mainstream. He saw an opportunity to make some buco bucks.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, so that was Gollywog by Billy Woods. Everybody out there, are we right? Are we wrong? Tell us. Let us know. Hit us up in the comments.
Brandito's
I know we're right,
always
but
right.
tell me about the other things that we're wrong about. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, like it's appreciated. But otherwise, this is on beat off script with another review. Appreciate it so much. Make sure that you check out, as another part of this specific recording. Make sure that you check out Blonde Shell's. The name of the album is If You Ask for a Picture, as well as Caliuchis's Sincerely, and the track attack that will be coming out here shortly, where we go over all the singles over the last couple of weeks. Thanks so much. Peace.
See you next episode.
Bye.
3, 2, 1.